All right, welcome back. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on something really cool in web development. We're going to see how JavaScript can take a totally boring, static web page and bring it to life, making it move, change, and react to whatever we do. Seriously, think of it less like coding and more like a live magic show.
So let's think about this for a sec. We've talked about how JavaScript is kind of like the brain of a web page, right? It can think, it can remember things, but what good is a brain if it doesn't have any muscles to move the body? It's kind of powerless. Well, today's the day we give that brain some muscles. We're going to let it actually reach out and control the web page itself. Okay, let's get into it. For this magic show, you've got two main characters on stage. On one side, we have our magician. That's JavaScript. It's the brain, the one with the plan. And on the other side, we have our live model, the DOM. That stands for Document Object Model. The easiest way to think about the DOM is as a live blueprint of our web page. Or maybe even better, a puppet. JavaScript is the magician, and the DOM is the puppet it's about to make dance.
Now, every magic trick has to start somewhere, right? The magician points to someone and says, pick a card, any card. Well, in our world, the very first spell we need to learn is how to tell JavaScript exactly which part of the page we want to mess with. We have to pick our target.
So how do we actually point to something on the page? Well, we have two main ways to do it. The classic way is getElementById. This thing is super fast and super precise, but your element has to have a unique ID. It's like knowing the exact license plate of a car you're looking for. Then there's the more modern, more flexible tool, querySelector. This lets you find an element using the same kind of selectors you use in CSS. It's like telling a friend, hey, find the first blue sports car you see. It's powerful for sure, but just remember, it only grabs the very first one it finds.
But what if you need to do something to all the blue sports cars, not just the first one? That's where querySelectorAll comes into play. And the keyword there is all. Instead of just one match, this gives you a whole list of every single element that fits your description, like, say, every single paragraph on your page.
And this quote just nails the feeling, doesn't it? Once you've selected an element or a whole group of them, and you've saved it in a variable, that's it, you've done it. You have a direct line. They really are like puppet strings, just sitting there in your hands waiting for you to give a command.
So we've picked our puppet, we've got the strings, now it's time for Act 2 of our show, the transformation. With those strings in hand, let's actually make the puppet do something. We're going to change what it says, what it looks like. We're going to change reality.
Now this is really interesting. There are a couple of ways to change what an element says. The first one, .InnerText, is your safe bet. It's for changing just the plain, simple text. But if you need more power, like if you want to make a word bold or italic, then you can use .InnerHTML. This lets you rewrite the entire HTML inside an element. It's a real power move, but you got to be careful. Since it can run any HTML you give it, it could open up security holes if you're not careful where that content is coming from.
Okay, just a quick but super important tip for you. When you want to change CSS styles directly in JavaScript, any property that has a hyphen in it, like background color, needs a little tweak. You have to change it to something called camel case. You just ditch the hyphen and make the next letter a capital. So background color becomes background color. Simple, but you have to remember it.
You know, while changing styles directly is fine, the way the pros do it is by keeping their styles and their logic separate. First, you just create a style class, maybe called .highlighted, over in your CSS file. Then, in your JavaScript, you simply add or remove that class name from your element using .ClassList. It is so much cleaner, it's more organized, and honestly, it's the right way to do it.
All right, so our magician can find things and change things. Pretty good, right? But the greatest magicians, they can do more. They can conjure something out of thin air and then make something else vanish without a trace. And guess what? So can JavaScript.
So how do you conjure up a brand new element? It's basically a three-step spell. First, you create it using document.elementCreate. At this point, it's just kind of floating in the void. It's not actually on the page yet. Step 2, you give it some properties, like a source fits an image. And finally, step 3, you use a penchild to tell it where to go, attaching it to something that's already on the page.
And what about making something disappear? That's the easy part. You just select the element you want to get rid of, and you call the .remove method. Poof, gone, vanished from the page. Okay, it's time, the grand finale.
We've learned all these separate little spells: how to find, how to transform, how to create, and how to vanish. Now we're going to put it all together into one real magic trick that you can actually see work.
First things first, every show needs its actors. For our trick, we need two. We need a button that's going to trigger the magic, and we need a title that's going to be the magic. So we just use our trusty getElementById to select both of them and store them in variables, just like we learned.
Okay, now we have to tell our little JavaScript brain to listen for the cue. And that cue is a user clicking on our button. We use something called addEventListener to do this. This line of code is basically saying, hey, I want you to watch that button. And the moment someone clicks it, I want you to run the code that I'm about to give you.
And boom! Here's the first part of the magic. Right inside that function that runs when the click happens, we tell our main title to change its inner text. The very instant that button is clicked, this line runs, and the text on the screen just updates. It's awesome!
But why stop there? Let's make it look cool, too, using that professional method we talked about. This line uses classlist.toggle on our title. Now, toggle is really clever. If the highlighted class isn't there, it adds it. If it is there, it removes it. It works like a perfect light switch for turning styles on and off with every single click.
And that's it. We close it out with that little bracket and our spell is complete. We have officially written the code to make our very first fully interactive part of a web page. Seriously, congratulations. You just performed your first piece of web magic.
So, the show might be over, but the magic is really just getting started for you. Let's do a quick recap of the magician's secrets you've learned and see where all this goes.
So here it is, your very own book of spells. You now know how to select anything on a page, you can change what it says and how it looks, you can conjure new things out of thin air and make old things disappear. And, maybe most importantly, you can make all of this happen whenever a user does something.
And this is the thing you really need to get. What you learned today, these aren't just a few little tricks. Selecting, modifying, creating, and listening for events, this is the absolute foundation of every single modern interactive website you use. From a like button to a huge, complex web app, it all starts right here.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. You have the tools now. You've been shown the spells, you understand the secret to breathing life into a web page, so the only question that's left is, now that you can wield the magic, what are you going to create?